crazy. But speaking about Netflix, we're gonna keep it moving off of the Chris Rock topic onto our last topic, which is kind of more than just the Netflix. It's kind of a double topic we're gonna talk about before we wrap it up. The Murdaugh case, man. This Murdaugh situation is kind of nuts. I don't know.
I only heard about it from Rachel because she.
You only heard what?
No, I only heard about it from Rachel because she watched it.
Did she watch it?
Yeah, she watched it and she's been obsessing about it for the past few days. She was like, "Y'all better talk about this."
Boy. Wait, put me on.
Rachel,
What's going on?
I've not been able to think about anything else since I don't watch that damn documentary, bro.
All right, now I get why she been like that. Now I get why she been like that.
Wild, bro. It's something that when you watch it, you're not gonna be able to. You're gonna be like, even after it's done.
She gave me the gist of it. She gave me the breakdown.
Okay, let me give Clay the gist of it in case he doesn't know what's been going on. So, Alec Murdaugh is the patriarch at the moment of this southern what is it? South Carolina, right? South Carolina? Is there South Carolina?
I think it was.
South Carolina family that has been pretty prominent in South Carolina. This specific town in South Carolina for many years. It's a family of lawyers, so it's been going down. So naturally, long story short, as far as that family is a very prominent family in that town. They basically control and run everything. They can cover things up. They basically run the town, right? This family has I believe only two children, Buster Murdaugh and Paul, right? Paul Murdaugh, I believe is the name. Anybody correct me? I think it's Paul. Paul Murdaugh. Paul's the younger one, and Paul was like 16, 17 at the time when this happened a couple years ago. Paul Murdaugh, I don't want to spoil nothing because I think this is another documentary that people should get into, but Paul Murdaugh got into a situation where a young lady and his group of friends was murdered based off of decisions that he made, right? So that's the lightest way I can put that without getting into all of that, but that's the whole thing to itself. That was the whole thing that happened to itself. That is what really the Netflix documentary kind of focuses on. Now, after that whole situation ended, I'm not going to go into how it ended or none of that. The new Murdaugh situation created, which is probably the one that people are more familiar with, that's been in the news recently, of the father, Alec Murdaugh, ends up murdering his son, Paul Murdaugh, and the mother of his children gets murdered as well. Now, on the surface, this all sounds like, oh, this is just murder and intrigue in the South or something, but it is way more than that. This shit is like crazy. There's with the inclusion of his wife and son, there is at least 5 dead people linked to this family that they are more than likely responsible for. But so far, I don't like. This is not a spoiler because this is in the news. But on Friday or Saturday, the documentary dropped on Friday. I think maybe the same day or the day before. Alec Murdaugh was sentenced to life in prison and with no possibility of any kind of parole or bail for the murder of his son and wife. So that itself is like a whole thing. The Netflix documentary, I'd say maybe it's a 3-part documentary. Each part is about 45 minutes to an hour. The last, I'd say 20 to 30 minutes of the third part is what focuses on the most recent situation with the father. But yeah, the story with it scared me. It's like watching a horror movie almost. Like
she did say it scared.
Yeah, bro, it's like watching a real horror movie. Like when you watch how there's so much footage, which is what I'm so thankful about. We're gonna start seeing in the future as more new documentaries come out, because we live in a day and age where especially kids are recording everything. So there's so much like real audio footage and video footage and of what's happened. And bro, honestly, like I would recommend everybody to also watch that on Netflix. Like if you get the chance and you're, I know everyone's not super into documentaries, but if you want to be entertained, it should be called the Murdaugh Scandals, I believe. Or it's just like if you type in it should be like right there on the first page. I'm sure it's like top 5.
So he only got sentenced for his son and his wife, not for
at the moment, right? Yes, right. At the moment, the only bodies they were able to link to the Murdaugh family was the son and his wife. What would be the dad?
Now tell me something. I mean, Rachel brought this up to me, like that he apparently hired like hitmans and stuff like that, right? Like are they any of them in the trials or anything like that? Any of them?
No, because like again, a lot of stuff with this stuff is alleged. You know what I mean? The only reason why Murdaugh, the father, even went down for this was because of one piece of evidence, right? That is what really sold the jury on it. Which to me, honestly, I feel like his attorneys could have fought that piece of evidence if they really wanted to.
I guess that's a good question. Rachel said, "Do you think he really did it? Like, or I think he hired
150. Rachel, did you watch the documentary? Do I think he did it? Yes, nigga.
No, she said she thinks he hired somebody. Do you think he did it or hired somebody?
As far as the murder of his son, of his wife and son,
yeah.
I'm gonna keep it real with you. By the end of it, how it all played out, I think it's possible that he I don't think he pulled the trigger himself. I'm gonna keep it real with you on that. After watching it, I don't think he pulled the trigger on his wife and son. He could have, because it's not like he had experience hunting. You know, there's Southern people, so they did all that hunting, hog hunting, and all that stuff, and deer hunting, all that stuff, and they had countless amount of guns. I'm sure Rachel probably remembers the part that discusses Paul flipping a car over with his girlfriend in it and him covering that up and all the guns that was in it. It's freaking nuts. But
somebody said, Leger said,
no, I don't
there
think
was blood splatter on his shirt.
Yeah, okay. There was blood splatter on his shirt. I forgot about that. They did find that. So, but again, I feel like that could be, because here's my thing. The piece of evidence that got him in court that sold the jury was that his son, Paul Murdaugh, recorded like a Snapchat video or something like that about 15 minutes before these murders occurred. Paul Murdaugh's defense this whole time was that I was nowhere near the murder of my wife and children. I went to go visit my mother and my father, and I came back and I found their bodies. In Paul, the kids, in the son's video that he put on Snapchat, you can hear the dad speaking in the video. He's not on tape. You can't see him, but you hear the dad on video speaking to Paul 15 minutes before the murders. So with that piece of evidence, the jury and the prosecutors were able to say, like, you lied. You were there. You said that you left, but you were clearly there up until 10, 15 minutes before the murders. So after that, he does what I think is the most stupid thing he could have done, which is what I think lost him the trial. He goes on to the stand and confesses that he lied about being there. He continues. He keeps up his innocence to saying that he did not murder his wife and son, but he admits that he was there. Me now, if I was his lawyers, I would have immediately said, look, right after that video ended, he left immediately, and then whoever came and murdered his wife and sons, that's what happened, right?
Yeah.
But obviously, you know, like Rachel said, you know, like it's possible that he's the person who did it, and there was, like Leger said, there was blood splatter on his shirt. I still don't think he the trigger man. I feel like he hired somebody else, and maybe they were in the bushes or whatever, because it was a big property. They owned how many acres? Like they're millionaire rich. I feel like whoever did it was hiding off somewhere in the bushes or whatever, and then once, you know, whenever it happened, and he maybe helped dispose of the bodies or help, because remember, he was there. He's the one who called 911 and said, like, oh, I found my wife and son dead. 911 said, don't touch the bodies, and he said to them, I already touched them. I touched them because I flipped them over to see if they were alive or whatever. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
I feel like there's a lot of reasons blood could be on the shirt, and I feel like if he hadn't been stupid enough to go on the stand and say that, because they interviewed the main juror, and he said the evidence, us seeing that video, is what really convinced us that he was there. And I feel like he could have fought it, but, you know, he was scared, I think, and he just went on there and said what he had to say. Yeah, he definitely wanted dead. And that was my thing with it. I feel like maybe it was insurance stuff, because when there were other people that were involved with death, and the reason that they found out that it was done is that he took out big insurance money on them. So other than that, the only thing confused me was the motive for him wanting his son and his wife dead. I just didn't see why. Because prior to that, the documentary proves they're like a happy family. They don't really got no problems as far as with each other. You know what I mean? But I just don't see the motive for him wanting them dead. That was the only thing.
Definitely got to check it out.
Definitely got to check it out. Yeah, man. So just wanted to touch on that in the Murdaugh case. Everybody, that's another thing we can kind of talk about that another time.
Yeah.
I think we should definitely start doing, like, you know, I'll try to start doing it myself, like little just like reviews or like discussions about these kind of things.
True.
But yeah, man, everybody check those out on Netflix tonight if you get the chance.
For sure,
the Chris Rock special and the Murdaugh murders. Definitely two things to check